It's interesting what we saw happen in the last year, this complete backlash against Bank of America for issuing this $5 fee on debit cards. Before it even got instituted, it was gone. And this was a lot social media, Twitter driven. How much is people power, if you can call it that right now, playing into your decisions on the retail side of the bank?
Well, let me say that we did not institute debit card fees at Citi, and frankly, we never had many of the overdraft fees and other kind of fee structures that were talked about in Dodd-Frank. And we did that because it was the right thing to do. It was good for business, it was good for our customers, and I'm a firm believer that if you focus on your clients and focus on your customers, provide them the highest quality services at the best possible prices, that's the success factor.
You also see, though, that there is this sort of increasing momentum that people will fight back those things. Is that correct?
Well, I think we got to start by acknowledging that that a lot of people are still angry at banks and the financial system for what happened during the crisis, and we need to acknowledge that by saying we need to rebuild trust. And at Citi, what we're doing is we're going back to the basics of banking. We're focused on the individual client, making sure that we help them buy homes, keep them in their homes. We also make sure they have the services they need, whether they're branches. We're growing our branches, by the way, from 1,000 to 1,200 in the U.S. Also digital services, iPad, iPhone, any way you want to work with us. That's how you build trust, by providing customers with what they need at prices at which they can afford.
And you've been quoted as saying, look, it's Wall Street's job to rebuild that relationship with Main Street. I'm wondering, Vikram, industry-wide, how long do you think that this distrust lasts? Is it fading? Is it gaining momentum? Where does it stand?
I do think it really comes down to making sure you're doing the right things. And at Citi, just let me talk about us. I talked about the basics of banking. We practice responsible finance. And what does that mean? What that means is, before we enter into any transaction, we ask ourselves three questions. Is it right for your client? Is it something that adds economic value? And is it something that's systemically responsible? And the answer to all three must be yes. Only then we do the transaction. We keep doing that, you'll find that trust gets restored as you do the right thing.
So President Obama announced he's creating a new financial crimes unit, and there have been some banking CEOs that have come out this week and said that could deter the negotiations, the settlement negotiations going on between states' attorneys generals and banks on mortgage servicing standards. Your take on the president's announcement here on that front?
Well, we are having a lot of negotiations on the mortgage issues.
Right.
I think it's not fair to comment on those right now, but I do think that it goes back to the original comment. We on Wall Street need to build trust with Main Street, and some of it is about the mortgage process,
Right.
Some of it is about what we do.
Do we need a unit like this from the administration?
Well, I do think if people have done something wrong, they ought to be held accountable for it. There's no question about that. That's how the business world should work. As I said, a lot of the onus is on the banks and the financial sector to start making sure they bridge that gap between Main Street and Wall Street.